All right, y'all. Y'all know what it is. The one on one with the Super Bowl series. This is Jay Washington here. Happy holidays, man. I had to get this one done later because a lot of things changed, which we'll talk about in a second. Thank you guys for the whole year. Plain and simple. Everyone who's been a part of these videos, everyone who's watched these videos, everyone who's just supported, whether it be me with Mad Titan, which is coming back after the new year, it's coming back, Blurs in the Hood, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm glad I get to talk to this man. How do you figure I have a man? I figured I was gonna get this text message. I'll talk about it later. Mr. Crisley, what's happening, bro?
Doing well. Trying to avoid a Marion.
Man, listen, let me tell you something. Again, I was supposed to go to a comedy festival in Utah. I've been telling everybody, and I just couldn't look. The amount of comics I know, over half the comedy scene in New York has it. Comics left and right in LA are catching it. And I'm just like, nah, I can't.
Uh-uh.
I don't want to take. Look, a comedy festival is cool. The little perks of being around people and all that's being around comics and performing, and that's fine. But look, I've avoided COVID all this time, and I am not going to let up. Towards the end, I can't just do that. So, how you been, man? What's going on besides that?
Trying to get all of us in this media space trying to do our wonderful top 10s at the end of the year.
I don't know why everybody try. I don't get it. I feel like, why does everybody? Because I feel like it's just I understand it's content, right? Something to have.
Right.
But for me, it's like my perception of it is everybody has a top 10. It's an oversaturation per se.
Yeah, the way I go about mine is not like saying, hey, here's the 1 through 10 and why this one's better than that. I just go, here's my 10 favorite movies. Here you go. That kind of thing with it. So it's not so much like a ranking of like, this is why it's better than that necessarily. But it's also a good way to kind of look back on the year and be like, oh, yeah, there's a Quiet Place Part 2 came out this year.
But see, I think that's the thing too. Because you know what? I was looking because I work with Cinelinx. And so it was like we wanted us to do our top 5 movies, just the 5. But I was like, fuck, what came out? Because it's literally 2020 and 2020 run have ran into each other.
Well, 2020 for me was a down year. Like there wasn't a lot of stuff. This was much more packed.
Of course. I mean, of course, because it was the pushback of everything from last year.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, because think about it. Judas and the Black Messiah came out this year. Yeah. But because of when it came out, it became eligible for the Oscars. So you see what I'm saying? Things like that. Also, I'm looking at I'm refusing to shave until like Thursday. So all of my stubble, the whites and everything grays are coming in. So I was like, I look like wisdom on the side of my face. I go back to the baby face look. But no, so I've been seeing also, like I said, you see all these movies, you forget what came out when per se. Like, yeah, I understand the whole like you said, A Quiet Place 2, you're like, oh yeah, that would, but it was supposed to be a 2020 movie. And then there's certain movies that were already set for 2021. It was just that we got flooded with those on top of the 2020 films we were supposed to get.
Yep, and we have the Academy Award-winning Morbius to look forward to in January.
You know what? I think this was a fun one-on-one, y'all. Let me go ahead and yeah, that motherfucker is right around the corner. I think like right after the first of the year. Here's the crazy part. I don't know if it's because of the variant that they haven't done it yet, but the screener links and the screener invites and all of them haven't come out yet. So it's like,
I think they're going to hold that as far as possible because of the quality.
And that's what I was just about to say. I think
they want to ride that Spider-Man thing.
But here's the thing,
and they
Spider-Man. But Spider-Man didn't come out until the week. The Spider-Man screeners didn't happen until the week of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's always that theory. If a movie has its screeners and is allowed to be seen by critics, pundits, et cetera, I am cutting this off because I feel like a grandfather or something here. Since this one little patch. This has always been the patch I've had since I was a teenager. And so, of course, it got bigger. But it's like, it's always been a thing if critics, pundits, all those see a movie earlier, then it clearly must be good. Or if it's waited till late, like right before the release, it's bad, or there are a bunch of spoilers they're trying to keep from getting out.
Well, it's like with No Way Home. There's literally no way to have a good conversation about that film.
I told somebody the same thing.
There's
I told
no way. There's
you
no way.
You can't. You
Andrew
can't.
and Toby are in too much of the film. Like they're the part that kind of carries on through.
They're the meat after it, because like in Act 2, that's when they come in and they carry on in Act 3. So it's like I get that, but also it's just it was just Morbius is just like I wish Michael Morbius was the person playing Michael Morbius was taller. Like Jared Leto goes into roles. I'll give him that no matter how much I felt about his GTA version of the Joker, right?
Right.
But he gets into roles. And the what we saw in the trailer of him when he's the actual living vampire, I was impressed. Yeah. But I need Michael Morbius to at least be 6'1".
Yeah, I don't get so much into the height thing. It's just I'm sort of wondering where it is.
I think that's what I think that's the thing now. Everybody's like, so where does this fit now?
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, I feel like this and Venom are in Andrew Garfield's universe. That's always kind of been my.
But everybody's going off of the Michael Keaton thing, which I would not be surprised, to be very honest with you. Again, they did it with No Way Home. They did it with Avengers. They do it with all these superhero movies. Shit is shot.
Right.
Shit is shot just to be shot, to throw in the trailers just so you can be like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the wing from Doctor Strange.
Say it again.
The wink from Doctor Strange.
Oh, exactly. Dude, I told everybody, I was like, yo, remember the wink and all that? That whole little sequence is not even in here.
No.
It was literally to throw people. It was, look, let me tell you something. Kevin Feige is an evil fucking genius. Because, they have their hands in this. Kevin Feige was like, I need one thing to happen in this trailer. And they were like, what? I need them to think that this is Mephisto. He literally knows what he is, because he has done that in everything. So remember in Loki, the window, the stained glass window, I think it was episode 1.
Yeah, the devil of the stained glass.
The devil, he's done it. It's like he's done it on purpose now, because he knows people like, it's Mephisto, and he knows it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Again, not saying that Michael Keaton is that, but it's just him. His appearance is something, because look, Michael Keaton now, Warner Brothers was like, hey, bro, look, we get it. Look, we sorry. We should have gave you more chances. Do you want to be Batman everywhere now? Like, because I think
a weird one. The HBO Max Batgirl thing, that's a weird one to me. Him being the Batman in that.
It is
age-wise and everything.
That means her Batgirl is going to be more, I would assume, if you're doing that, this is my assumption. You can tell me if your thoughts will line up with it or not. If they're doing that, that would mean this is more of a Batman Beyond-esque type film without it being Batman Beyond.
Right. That's what I would think as well. Or they're simply going to swap out Ben Affleck for him.
Well, that's another thing. I think they've done that. I think that's the official. I think that's the number one thing. Affleck is not. I think people need to accept the fact he's going to pop up in Flashpoint. Yeah, but after that, that's the last you're seeing of Ben Affleck as Batman Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I think Keaton is the one going forward, and we're going to establish Keaton is not going to be. He's going to be like Brandon Routh was in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right. The Superman version.
Right. He's going to be himself in the 89 Batman, but he's also Ben Affleck's Batman. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
He's going to be both. He's both.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, it's weird because that's still an HBO Max movie as of now. Blue Beetle, they said, nah, they got too much pushback.
Well, they did, because it's like, okay, you take the Black Batgirl movie and you take the Blue Beetle, and you're going to put them on HBO Max because they're risky.
Well, but the problem, and again, I was like, yeah, because I think everybody kept saying, like, out of all, once you said who the Blue Beetle was, once you said you weren't doing Ted Kord, you were doing Jaime Reyes, everybody was like, he's the best one. Yep. So, look, that shows you HBO, Warner Brothers the heads, the stockholders' fear of, will diverse leads work for us? And it's like, bro, I'm gonna need you to look at the box office of all these different movies that have shown you, especially comic book movies that have shown you it will fucking work.
Yep.
Shang-Chi showed you this will work. Black Panther, Crazy Rich Asians, all these other movies have shown you it will work. Just have a good movie with a good script. And the dude that's doing it, the Charm City Kings director, like, you can't go wrong. Like,
yeah. And the right actor coming
and
up.
The right actor.
Everything he's doing on Cobra Kai, you know, you get the, you know, it's just,
so
I think that's a cool move. What is your ranking of, everyone's kind of done their Marvel ranked.
Are we doing the movies or just the Disney Plus?
Movies and TV.
All right. So number one for Marvel Studios, number one is Spider-Man No Way Home, of course.
Agree.
That's number one. Number two, I'm at a toss-up, and I'm not picky. Number two between, now this is weird for me. Number two is between Loki and WandaVision. Because I know a lot of people ranked WandaVision lower because kind of because of the ending. Wanda's a supernatural Karen, but more so the Ralph Boner thing.
That's my thing with it, and I was totally fine with it not being
Quicksilver,
but it was specifically the Ralph Boner joke of it all.
Yeah,
what they did with it. Like if it had been any other name, I'd be like, okay. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to be anyways, so it was just like, oh, that just kind of ran flat. It landed flat to me.
It was supposed to be like one of those little goofy college, high school kid type joints.
And then the Dragon Ball Z-esque fight where he literally does the Hellzone grenade from like Dragon Ball Z, where Wanda does the Hellzone grenade at the end was a little much. But, you know, I like the White Vision stuff. But yes, I think for me, Hawkeye is number two.
You know what? Now that I sit back, I haven't really thought Hawkeye is number. Hawkeye is solid from beginning to end.
And I know a lot of people didn't like the Kingpin thing because they're stupid and think that he's dead.
First of all, the man took an arrow to the chest and shrugged it off.
Also, and apparently, you know, if you read around, there's a post-credit scene where they show him alive. There's a post-credit scene that they decided not to do because it doesn't make sense for this. It makes sense to show an Echo.
Right.
When that's when you need to reveal whatever happens, whether she shoots past him, whether she actually shoots him or someone stops him.
Well, there's a run. I can't remember which run it is. Comic run. Yeah. He's shot and he has bandages over his eyes.
The eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same outfit.
He has the same outfit on. Right. So I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
And everyone's pissed because they're like, well, what works in the comics doesn't work in live action. So like, which do you want?
What do you want? Because I would rather, don't get me wrong, the Kingpin he gave us in the Netflix universe is dope, right? That was that's a criminal mastermind, and you see how a criminal mastermind works, right?
And even if it's the same character, he's at a lower level now. Even if it's the same universe, he was beat into a pulp and put in jail.
Yep.
And the blip happened.
Yep.
And we know he wasn't blipped, but he was. So he has to start at a low level to build his empire back up.
And he still has his reputation no matter what.
Yep.
He has his reputation, and that's all you need, because again, to have an Avenger be like, that's the dude I'm worried about.
Yep.
Exactly. That's the Kingpin. To have an event. Also, I know that ain't even the main reason. A lot of people just don't like Jeremy Renner, and I understand why. Let me make sure I say that.
He's a great actor.
Right. Personally, I get it. Professionally, the man has taken one of the most douchebaggest characters ever that nobody really cared about and made him decent, made him a family man.
Right.
Bro, I want this man to get home to his family.
And the cast was insane. When you really look at you have 4 Academy Award nominees showing up throughout this thing. None of the other Disney Plus shows had that. And when Florence Pugh shows up,
she just elevates the show to another level. You know, with the
Seinfeld's hero speech in the finale. Oh, that was perfect.
The whose hero speech?
When Steinfeld was delivering
Oh,
Kate, this is why I'm the hero. I'm a hero. This is
yeah.
anybody can kind of be it. It was like, I bet that was the pitch for the show. Like, this is why Hawkeye matters. Boom. And then
Well, it's more so why Kate Bishop matters.
Yep.
I think you know what I'm saying. It's more so not just Hawkeye.
Everything else, because Kate throughout has always been like kind of fast. She'll stumble and kind of find her way. It was completely calm, confident.
Yep.
The only thing I don't think she needed to say, "I'm ready." I don't think she needed to say those two words because I think it was clear based on that.
Well, she had to test. It was one of those. I'm not proving to myself. I'm proving to you.
Yeah.
It was more than that.
He got it.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it would be Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Loki, Shang-Chi, because that movie is phenomenal. Look, for them to have to look as a comic fan, which you are, to understand several things. One, they are not gonna do Fu Manchu, right? I'm cool with that. Two, I'm pissed they didn't do Fing Fang Foom, but I know why they didn't do Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah, because something for a second.
You either got to save it for right. You got to make a reason that you have, because if you give us because giving Fing Fang Foom now makes no sense when you understand where he's from, and there's a bunch of other motherfuckers like him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just to say he's gone, the other creatures from Catharon coming, like looking like dragons, don't make sense around without him. Don't make any sense. It was beautiful, right? So there's Shang-Chi. I put Loki up there. Shang-Chi, WandaVision.
Eternals.
Eternals is gonna
go. Eternals and Black
Widow is one at the bottom for me because Black Widow goes at the bottom for me mainly because I granted, yes, they did it. I still am in that this is 10 years too late.
Yep.
No matter when it came out.
Florence Pugh takes the movie from her. I mean, as great as Scarlett Johansson is, it's kind of Florence Pugh's.
But that's the point. But again, that's the whole point of this movie. The whole point of Black Widow as a movie is just to tell you why you're about to have Yelena Belova, why you're finna have a new Black Widow.
Right.
It's
and then the ending. I hate that ending of the movie for the most part. Like the climax and all that stuff. It's just so big when this should have been the grounded Red Room.
Mm-hmm. Like everybody's like, oh, the Taskmaster. And I'm like, yes, I get it. They took liberties and they didn't make the Taskmaster the same way. But let's just be honest. Nobody's really asking for the Taskmaster as a villain. Like when you saw him, you're like, oh shit. And you're like, okay, cool. Because if you know him, you know him. You're like, cool. But nobody was like, dude, they got to bring the Taskmaster on screen. Very few people were saying that.
No.
So Black Widow falls at the bottom. But then before that would be Eternals, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Yep.
What If?
Yeah. I kind of forget about What If in there.
It's hard because What If because it's animated.
Yep. Well, no, the only reason What If I think is towards your end of the list instead of being lower is because of the Doctor Strange angle of it all. Because we know that it's going to play into the Multiverse of Madness.
Which I think the Doctor Strange, I would not be surprised if the Strange that we see in the trailer is that it wouldn't surprise me if that's the Strange.
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
Because there's no reason this happens.
Right.
And again, I keep telling everybody, I think you and I talked about this. I said one event can't break the multiverse, but multiple events fucking with the multiverse at one time can break it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? One event with the multiverse is like, all right, it'll get back to normal. We'll fix things back to normal. But multiple events happening at the same time, that's what sounds like the definition of a Nexus event. Right. So I'm like, I'm cool with that. Like I said, those are, you know what I'm saying? That's what it was for me. Eternals only goes lower because of everything we got out this year, right?
Yeah, and I think my main issue with that, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, is I think they chose I love Cersei as a character in that, but she doesn't change throughout the film. Her character doesn't change.
No.
Starts loving humanity, and she ends loving humanity. The main protagonist should have been Fastos. Should have absolutely been Fastos.
Yes, it should have. Yes, it should have.
He's the one that changed the most. He's the one that had the personal connection that we could really pull from. And then I think I like Lauren Ridloff in the death thing, but it's sort of weird when they kind of put these characters in there and they are the ones that clearly have the least to do. Like, she's great in her moments.
Right.
But it would be nice if that first time we kind of saw her, she was one of the main ones in the forefront. It's very odd when they do that. It's kind of like the same-sex kiss in what was it, Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, the one that just happened for no reason. You're just like,
okay,
all right, cool. You but I feel like you made us see this for some reason. Like, you're like, all right, bet. Here's my thing with Eternals. If you look at it as just a movie, everybody has said the same thing. If you look at the Eternals as just a regular movie, this shit is beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yep.
It's a beautiful movie. But if you're looking at it under the eyes of, this is a Marvel Cinematic, this is the MCU movie from Marvel Studios, it's different. Now, I even come in with a third look because I'm like, I know the comics, right? Cersei is not. Gemma Chan Cersei is not Cersei from the comics. Cersei in the comics is a party girl. She's a god, but she's a party girl, right? Dane Whitman is, yes, her boy toy, her living boy toy.
And he rules. He's great. It's funny, the characters I love the most are the ones that were least used, but that's sort of.
But it's because, but I understand why. Again, because his shit is coming up with Blade and Moon Knight.
Yeah, his character is the one that will actually connect the universe. Nothing else from the Eternals will ever connect.
Right. He's connecting going forward. Right. So you got that, right? Also, I think this movie is to set up officially, if we're going to do it, which I don't want them to do. I don't want Galactus now as a bad guy. And I say that because we've just had a cosmic threat in Thanos, right?
No.
And Kang is going to be dispatched easily. Because, but if that's the case, because I say the way they made the Celestials, they all have that nod to Galactus look. If you look at them, right? I would rather the big bad of these two phases be Doctor Doom.
That's what I would like to see. I don't know if it's too fast for them to set it all up. If they're going to take their time revealing like Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four film, like they may even wait past that to introduce that and come.
Who would you have as the big threat of these two phases or three?
No, I agree with you on Doom. I think it just depends on when they're going to debut him.
Oh yeah, because I think
I agree with you on Doom. I'd much rather see Doom and someone that's an actual being.
But see, you got to remember, Doom in the comics. Doom is that's the problem because of these Fantastic Four movies we've had and the iterations of Victor Von Doom they've given us. People who don't know Doom don't understand. Doom has destroyed the entire Marvel universe before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That man is technology and magic together, which makes him one of the most dangerous beings ever. So with it, again, going back to Eternals, I understand also I wish it was hard either way because you're introducing 12 people, right? There was
I would have done less number. That's what Guardians works.
Guardians is always a small team no matter what.
Yes, but you could have also thrown in like 7 or 8 people.
That's what they did. They did it finally in Guardians 2.
Yep, because then you could add a couple more because we at least know them a little bit.
Yeah,
but I mean, I appreciate what she was going for with it, but to me, a lot of it, and then the pace just kind of crawls at certain points.
Yes, I agree.
Home is it just as long as it, and it just flows. No Way Home just kind of flows right through. You're never like, oh yeah, this is 2.5 hours. It's just like it's.
Yeah, No Way Home is you're just like, I need to pee, but I think I can wait.
Especially once the villain show up. Once the villain shows up, the thing is just like boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, like Garfield's popping up and then we're going.
Yeah, they were rolling with all the jokes and everything you love. And I agree. again, I try, for me, I tell everybody, I gave Eternals benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because here's another problem that a lot of people don't know, even with the source material. This was Jack Kirby coming just off of DC doing New Gods, and Marvel saying, we want something similar to New Gods. So he's already given DC Darkseid, Granny Goodness, Desaad in them. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, I'll give a race of beings, which again, that's why there's 2 movies, because there's a whole nother group of these motherfuckers.
Right.
There's a whole nother group of them. So, I mean, again, if it goes, I don't think they have to go. Do they play a larger part in the bigger threat? I don't know. It
depends on what they want to do. When they do introduce X-Men, I think we'll get a better feel for what they're doing, because I don't see Magneto being a major threat, depending on how villainous they want to make him.
Okay, let me ask you this question, since you brought it up. When do you want them? The X-Men?
Probably 2023, 2024.
I'm gonna tell you, my thoughts. I don't want them at all, no time soon. And here's why.
As long as they keep telling good stories and they can balance out street level kind of human-centric drama with some stuff like Guardians and things like that, and things, then I'm good.
That's my thing.
Right? Not rushing through it. So if there is a right, like there are people that are convinced that that mutants are shown in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, they think people keep believing Patrick Stewart or McAvoy are going to show up as Professor Xavier. And here's my problem. You pull them into the universe, right? Let's say you pull the X-Men in, right? Let's say they pop up and whatever happens in Doctor Strange, for some reason now mutants and all of these people are officially in the world, okay? Here's the issue. What do you do with all these other stories now? Because now you're going to convolute the fuck out of what you're telling. Mm-hmm. Blade has got to tell a story about vampires. We don't need mutants right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Blade story. Moon Knight has to be Batman with superpowers. You get what I'm saying?
And multiple personalities.
And he's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And he's batshit crazy.
And somewhat street level.
They're street level.
Balance all those things. Yeah.
So you got Fantastic Four does not need the mutants.
Nope.
It doesn't. Now, I understand because again, MCU has been, there's this theory of, well, not there, there's this saying, when you get a movie like this, you have to give the number one bad guy out the gate first, because you're not guaranteed to get a second shot. So Doom is coming out the gate for Fantastic Four. I get it. I understand. But if that be the case, you still don't need the X-Men, right? No. You don't need the X-Men for Guardians 3 because they're in space. I don't want this. I don't want the Phoenix Saga in no way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't want it even mentioned or teased.
We've tried it enough.
But again,
in different ways too. It's too big, and you need too much. The only way you could do it is if you did it as a TV series, because
it's got to be a Disney Plus series, right? And that'll give a chance to build and live, right? But again, that's another thing. If you're going to give me the X-Men, I don't need a movie yet. You need to build them up in a Disney Plus series, because putting them in a movie is going to make everything weird, because now people are going to have those questions of, well, how does this fit with that, with this, with this? And with a Disney Plus series, slowly you can tell this story.
Right. And you can focus more on the character. That's when people are like, hey, why Daredevil's going to show up in the season finale of Hawkeye? Why? That doesn't cap off the show's not about him.
It's not about him at all.
Meaning to the story. So that's not how TV works either. Because when you get to season finales, they're about finishing off the stories that you've told with these characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you introduce Kingpin at the end of the 5th episode. So
because the season 2 of Hawkeye is actually Echo.
Yeah.
So he goes there. But guess where else he can be involved in? Now you have She-Hulk coming in. Guess what She-Hulk is? A lawyer. So who can come into that? Matt Murdock. But does he have to be Daredevil? Absolutely not.
I really hope that when he's I don't know when he'll be a series regular, but I would hope that Echo, when he's almost a series regular, like we get multiple episodes of Murdock, because Daredevil and Echo, to me, that the deaf blind thing,
it works together.
It's such a great combo.
It works because, again, she can't talk. He can't see.
Right.
He technically can't see.
And they both have the Kingpin angle.
And
I mean, it makes more direct sense.
That would work. Now, again, Daredevil works there. But look at all the different things we're talking about, all the things we've said. Miss Marvel, again, they're changing her ability because people are like, oh, well, why she's not an Inhuman. I'd like to present Exhibit A, the Inhuman series that failed on ABC.
The one that did it well was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the way they kind of handled it in that show. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon or not canon. The Mockingbird thing at the end of Hawkeye does not mean that Bobby Morse was not also, it's a colloquial thing that gets passed down. So you could have two Agent 19s.
You could have two Agent 19s.
Yeah.
And
but people were like freaking out, like that means that it canceled everything for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like, well, we know for sure Clark Gregg is back in the universe. So,
but here's the problem with that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first came out, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was what we consider Disney Plus shows, right? It was the bridge because we didn't have a lot of movies at this time. Remember, the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole is not a major thing at the time. So it was. What did you say? I'm sorry.
He screwed up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by tying it into the wrong things. So it was like before the Dark World, it was like they were the cleanup crew. After Thor left,
I was fine with that, but it was like it was once Marvel Television and Jeff Loeb decided to say, "No, let's just have them keep doing their own thing," which they should do.
They should,
but it was like, okay, we got Lady Sif, we got Nick Fury in the episode. It's still MCU, right? But then it's like, just go, and it's like that kind of threw everybody off.
I think Quake is the one you would bring in. I don't think you bring them all in. I think Quake, that was the best Inhuman introduction. They explained it really well in a way that made sense. And I think if you just put her in certain things, I think that would make a lot of people happy. I think that's the one character they care about.
Again, so now we're going in. So now, because is Miss Marvel before the Marvels or after?
Miss Marvel's before. I think that's the first thing out the gate in 2022.
Right, she sure is. She's in January.
Yeah.
So she leaves, right. She's in January. So again,
because for a while they were trying to smash that into 2021 too.
No, man, they tried to put that
in. No, that doesn't actually work. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they were trying because they were like, if we try to put it at the end of the year, we won't get any numbers on this.
Well, no, and then it smashed right up against Hawkeye, and you got to give.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, we won't get no numbers off this.
And they're both New York-esque shows, too. New Jersey.
It wouldn't add up correctly just yet. Yeah. So back to Miss Marvel. I don't need the mutants. These are things I don't need the mutants for. No. I'll admit, I was one of the first ones to say, okay, Eternals can be the way they introduce them because the snap changes reality. That would have once if they would have said the way the snap happened 4 different times, because again, reality keeps changing every time he uses the snap. You say that. It says there's these group of humans with abilities called mutants. That is an easy thing to explain. It is not a difficult thing. What is difficult to explain is a group of motherfuckers in upstate New York, though. Like, you see what I'm saying?
That is why we worry. Like, maybe they used the Doctor Strange thing to mess with it at the very end.
It's got to be something because you got to explain. You got more than not even just people living with mutations. It's not even people living with mutations.
Yeah,
it's this group of people, this super team in a house in upstate New York.
Yeah, And
You know what
there's
I'm
like
saying?
control your minds. Like if you're gonna have Xavier and all that stuff, they can control your. We're not gonna talk about it after everything that the Sokovia Accords, and you had a purple guy eliminate half the universe. So I feel like everything would be extra strict.
Because again, the Eternals explanation is cool. The Celestials, the gods that made us said don't deal with nothing. You can't argue with that.
Right.
The gods that made us said don't do it. Because again, if you read the comics, the Celestials helped to, they didn't make humanity, they furthered humanity.
Right.
Because in the comics, they took what were already the men and just exploited their DNAs to the furthest reaches. Cool. Right. Cool, fine. But again, everybody's like, when the mutants coming, when they coming, where do they fit?
They don't. They don't right now.
They don't, and that's the thing. For what Marvel has lined up for us, what Marvel Studios has shown us they have coming out in these next to 2024, I believe it is, or 23.
Did they push Ant-Man to 2024?
It's 23. I think.
The end of 2023.
Let me double check real quick.
It's 2024. That's right. 2024 is Fantastic Four because it's July 2024.
Yeah, Quantumania is 2023.
Yeah.
So till 2024, because that's FF. Let that happen, and then after 2024, let them do whatever they're gonna do then.
Right.
Then you can start to introduce however you're going to introduce these people. Because the question again, here's the next question. Everybody wants the X-Men, right? Do you want, and I'm saying you as the general statement and y'all watching the video, do you want the team already or the formation of the team?
Formation of the team, and then at the end they form. Kind of like X-Men was very, I don't like how Bryan Singer did the first X-Men. I actually don't like the first X-Men very much, other than Wolverine and Rogue. That's like the only two things I like about that film. But the way that they did it by choosing a mutant that you're going to focus as this entryway into this world, I think is the right way to go with it.
That's fair.
The problem with the Marvel thing is we now have a world with other superheroes, so it's not going to be as weird as that. So I don't know. It is tricky to try to find them.
But you see what I'm saying. You and I both are on the same page. Like the reason mutants worked were because this was a world where in the comics Captain America had been a thing, but while Captain America was being a thing, humans were mutating slowly throughout history, and while heroes have been happening, so have mutants been coming, and they all were running side by side, right? And even when big things started happening to the humans, the mutants slowly began getting involved. We're past that point now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, one way you could do it. I mean, I don't know how Secret Wars is going to go.
That might be the opening.
I think
that's the opening. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Because, of course, everybody said that's well, not only just to give closure to the Spider-Man, which I don't know your thoughts on this real quick. People are like, oh, they should make an Amazing Spider-Man 3, right? I'm like, no, for several reasons. Number one, has anybody asked Andrew Garfield, does he want to do another whole fucking movie? Number one. Number two, No Way Home was his closure. He got to do the one thing he couldn't do. He saved.
I agree. I'm fine if he doesn't do another one. I would say based on the performance he gives in this film, which is like 20 times better than what Tobey Maguire was doing. Because
Tobey Maguire was just like, I'm here, okay? Y'all happy? Leave me alone.
Like you just watch the rooftop scene and watch one emote and one not emote. Like Garfield gave a lot, and I feel like he's always talked about it as he wanted it to be more than what it was. Those two movies. And I think the biggest thing was Mark Webb as a director just should not have been the one directing those.
So now that's the problem though. If you give him a third, you have to give another director, or
which is what I would do.
Go ahead.
Which is what I would do. And that is also the one that I would introduce Miles. I think
I agree. He has to come.
It's Spider-Man and Miles, or however you want to do it. But I think that's the way in.
Yeah, it has to be the experience. Yeah, because at first it was talking about that Tom Holland was the one, and I'm like, it doesn't work because Tom is still learning how to be Spider-Man.
Now, the only way I would do it is if Kevin Feige's involved. Feige has to be involved, and whoever wrote the script for this has to write the script for that Amazing Spider-Man, because they seem to understand exactly how to use Garfield.
Yes,
like the comedic thing, the twitchy thing.
Mm-hmm.
They managed to catch all that, and I think if you do that, that's a very interesting Spider-Man. I think it would be also interesting if his is the one that still has some like multiverse weird stuff going on, and you do the Gwen thing, a Gwen from another universe. Like watching Garfield and Emma Stone act that from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
Would kind of be crazy.
But again, now it's I know, because I had this discussion with somebody the other day, because she did, we never thought Emma Stone would go back after being an Academy Award winner. Your whole thing changes, right? Shit you do changes. The opportunities you have are way more.
Zombieland double tap. I mean,
that's exactly what I was about to say. They got her. That was the one thing that was like, they got her to come back for Zombieland double tap.
Right.
And so, but the difference is she was still trying to be Emma Stone. She had done that, Superbad, all these different things. You know what I'm saying? When she did the original Zombies. Right. So it's like giving my thanks back. She doesn't need to do.
No, but Spider-Gwen would be a different character for her to play, and more of the badass kind of thing. Would be interesting to see and to watch again.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100-fold.
It's going to depend on how if Garfield gets the Oscar, that demand's going to go. Whoop.
See, that's another thing. If Garfield gets the Oscar for Tick, Tick, Boom, right? Mm-hmm. Granted, we know Marvel Studios is like every A-list actor that has called them now. Yes. Mahershala Ali, which I think still is bullshit, had to call them twice. In fact, he couldn't even get a meeting with Kevin Feige after the first one. Right. He won the Oscar for Moonlight. They were like, whatever. Finally wins it for Green Book, and they were like, give him whatever he wants.
Right.
I digress. Again, we just said it. Oscar Award winners, nominees are all through the MCU. Right? But at the same time, their schedules have to allow it. The schedule and the taxing it would take for him to do another Spider-Man movie. It's not an easy thing because, again,
it's not. But this is a dude that learned to sing and play piano in a year. When he hadn't sang and played piano,
but bro, we had a whole year. But we had a whole year to do nothing last year.
True. He was acting in other things, but he was in The Eyes of Tammy Faye and doing other things, not just that. But it shows how he can kind of come back, and he seemed like more of that character.
He absolutely seemed more. He absolutely.
The pastor thing was perfect because that's exactly.
Wait, what'd you say?
The youth pastor line.
Oh my God, that was the greatest line ever. So you gonna go dressed like a youth pastor? I was in the theater hollering.
That, and you gotta be careful where you fall. It's just Jamie Foxx's timing on that was just like.
Wait, Jamie Foxx, when he said, "So y'all just not gonna say that about me standing here butt ass naked?" Because I said it in me and Winston's review. It's always things like that never get acknowledged in like certain movies. Like it's just a thing, right? It's just he's naked. They talk to him. He got to go. Boom. It's just another scene. Right. The fact he was like, "So we just not gonna acknowledge I'm here butt ass naked, huh? We just I'm gonna be cool with this." Okay, cool. I'm not saying I don't mind it if he does Amazing Spider-Man 3. I don't.
I think the interesting question is who's going to direct the next Tom Holland Spider-Man, because it's not going to be John Watts. He didn't have time. He's going to do Fantastic Four. They're not waiting until 2025 to get another Spider-Man film out. They're just not.
Let me tell you something. Marvel Studios will wait, and I'll tell you why. They're going to get. He'll do both, and I'll tell you why. one name alone: James Gunn. That man was writing Guardians 3 while shooting.
But I don't know if they are like, okay, that was that chapter, and we want to go somewhere else with that Spider-Man, and they want a different voice in there. Because it seems
I can see that, but that's a problem.
This next Spider-Man didn't have Zendaya or Ned at all. It has
this next iteration. Yeah, this should be the
Black Suit Spider. This should be the darkest.
Oh, that's what this is. That was the reason. That was the reason they made sure they were like, we need a way to explain. We need to get this symbiote in here without doing the whole go to space or all that. We've already established Venom. We need that symbiote somehow. We need Tom Hardy to be, because more than likely he'll be the voice of Venom, or they find a Tom Hardy variant. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But they found a way to put that in the universe. The thing is now, okay, John Watts closed out his trilogy with a very much darker movie, right? Do you stay this dark route, or do you stay? Understandable, Watts is that's his stamp that he's put on that. But that's his stamp he put on that. But do you keep that same aesthetic, that same feel? Do you find a director that can give you that going forward? So it's like, how do you? Sorry, I'm getting so many emails and phone calls.
And I know you got to eventually prep for Blurs and everything, right?
Yeah, I got to get ready to finish that up. That was one of the text messages from Winston. So it's like, how do you find that director that you trust good enough to give you a John Watts feel? Or because if you go Ruben Fleischer or Andy Serkis, right, it's not going to work, because as young and youthful,
Serkis could do as Spider-Man. I think he would have a better grasp of the tones. If you watch Mowgli, he knows how to go real dark in the place.
Okay.
Venom 2 is not
the film. Because I'm like,
he did a better job with the motion capture and doing that buddy thing, but that's all that film could really do. Like that screen, I can't remember the screenwriter's name for Venom 2, but she writes like awful screenplays. They never work.
Well, Venom 2 was, again, I say this always, Venom 2 was a bad.
Yeah, let's bring him back.
Who?
Cassidy. Let's bring back him.
No. But
the one that Tom Holland keeps talking about is he definitely wants Kingpin in one of his next films. He definitely
should, because again, he should,
because it should be
Kelly Marcel.
Yeah.
Kelly Marcel is who wrote it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, she's written a few. I can't remember that. I think she wrote the first Venom too, but
so she wrote it to be campy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great.
He came in and was like, okay, I can try and do something with the motion capture-esque thing, which he's very good at doing. But Mowgli's great. Mowgli's just a really good film. It's very dark for a Jungle Book story. Very, very dark.
All right. Look, I hate to cut this, but
I know.
If he texts me one more damn thing, I'm going to kill him. Look, before I let you go, I want to say belated Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I hope everything that works out going forward for you and the Intersect and everything else you got going. I appreciate you much. I wanted to say that sincerely from the heart. Now, tell the people how they can find you and everything you got going on your top 10 list and more.
Thank you. You can find me on theintersectionmedia.com. That's where I'll be working on my top 10 movies and TV shows this year. And then you can follow me at The Intersect.
Cool. Y'all already know where I am. And clearly, as you can tell, I'm about to be on Blurs in a couple hours. Because I'm like, yo, get asked, do you need anything? And it's like, I always need stuff in this damn show. But always, man, thank you Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. As I stated earlier, happy holidays. And I saw a meme that said something and it made true. When someone tells you happy holidays, it does not mean there's a war on Christmas. It means it's like 40 fucking different holidays through different denominations from like November to January. So whatever you celebrate, happy holidays. Holla at y'all later. Don't go nowhere. I'm out.